Preston Coleman is still in the hospital days after police say he was brutally attacked inside a VFW in Aliquippa. Now his family is saying they believe this is a hate crime.
But for him not to do nothing to this person, never seen this person, never had an encounter with him, it's unreal. And for it to happen for so long and no one did anything is insane. It's inhumane.
Coleman now in an induced coma after police say this man, 39-year-old Brett Ours, viciously attacked and strangled Coleman for roughly 30 minutes at the VFW on Sunday. Ours has been on the run ever since and is considered dangerous. Aliquippa police saying several people were in the bar and some may have participated in the attack as well. The attack captured on surveillance video, police saying it was unprovoked. The family saying Coleman was the only black person at the bar and no one stepped in to help.
My father never knew these people before. He's a member. My grandfather was a veteran. He's also there a lot. Like he's known there. So it's just unreal that they allowed that to happen to someone that they know.
And more charges may be forthcoming. For now, reporting in downtown Pittsburgh, Ava Rash, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
All right, peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. The clip that you just saw is that of yet another vicious attack on a black man by two Neanderthal barbaric savages. This attack happened in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, and it occurred about January the 5th, sometimes last week, at this lodge for the veterans of foreign wars. And as you heard the news reporter say, 53-year-old Preston Coleman III is currently in a medically induced coma after this savage, 39-year-old Brett Ours, savagely beat him for a period of 30 minutes in a bar full of people. And that beating has been caught on tape. But what's most devastating is, as the daughter said, no one in the bar stepped in to help. No one in the bar called the police. And I'm going to play another clip which describes what happened, what the man did to Mr. Coleman. But right from the beginning of the beating, totally unprovoked, Coleman was said to be in and out of consciousness, almost lifeless, as this Neanderthal continued to beat and beat and beat him in a room full of people. Also, additionally, another savage, this man, 43-year-old Ronald Brown, also jumped in as Mr. Brown was already incapacitated. Excuse me, not Mr. Brown. As Mr. Coleman was already incapacitated, bloody, swollen, and this other Neanderthal jumps in and joins the affray. Now, they say that Mr. Brown, because of the severity of the injuries, turned himself in like the day after at 2:30. However, Brett Ours, the initiator, the most violent of the two, is still at large. And they describe what happened, and I'm gonna read it to you from an article. But they describe that Mr. Coleman was sitting at the bar, and Mr. Ours was sitting there talking to him for about 7 minutes, and then he just stands up and starts punching this man, and probably caught off guard. Mr. Coleman, you don't look like someone who can't handle himself, but he was probably caught off guard, and he continued to be a victim of this man beating for 30 minutes. So much so, they said that Ours had to take a break, catch his breath, and then went back over there, smashing him with a bar stool and also strangling him. And as the daughter said, Mr. Coleman, was a regular at that lodge. Now, we don't know if there's supposed to be a membership to enter there, but his daughter said he was regular there. He was known there. The bar was right down the street from his house. His father was a veteran, so I guess that's what made him gain entry into the place. But as we have seen in a lot of instances, sometimes you have to be careful on the places that you hang out at due to this, what many people call the political climate. But just watch the detectives and this reporter talk about how violent the attack was.
He's a violent individual. And in viewing this tape, I mean, it's very clear that he is a violent individual.
A brutal attack at a bar. The suspect accused of beating a man so severely he nearly killed him. The attack happened at the VFW in Aliquippa.
Tonight, Barry Pintar has the latest on efforts to find the suspected attacker.
I am here at the VFW on Penn Avenue here in Aliquippa. I want to start with this right here. This criminal complaint reads like the most brutal scene you've ever seen in any movie you've ever seen. So as we go through the details, just a warning, what's coming ahead is quite graphic. The victim beaten so brutally and badly, a helicopter had to land here to get him to level 1 trauma care ASAP. This is the man police are saying is the suspect, 39-year-old Brett Ours. District Attorney Nate Bible says Ours is dangerous. What if someone should happen to see this man?
Sure. Do not approach him. It seems like the damage that was done to the victim in this case, that this individual could snap.
And we know the victim's name, Preston Coleman. There is surveillance video of the actual attack that took place inside these walls, but it is not being released. The reason why, not given, but we do know the attack was violent, bloody, and horrific. Police have seen that recording. Key timeline points from the police report say, unprovoked, Ours stands up and punches the victim in the face repeatedly. When the victim tries to escape, Ours ups the attack and begins kicking him in the head. The victim is, quote, blood-soaked and frail. Ours then grabs a bar stool and, quote, bludgeons Preston. The relentless punching and kicking goes on for a long time. Blood is splattered on the walls. Ours then begins shooting Preston. The endless attack continues for 30 minutes. Ours then leaves the bar with his girlfriend and is gone by the time police arrive.
I do believe that they knew each other, and the Aliquippa police were familiar with both individuals.
Okay.
But, from what they told me, that the victim was almost unrecognizable.
The victim, Preston Coleman, remains in the hospital fighting for his life. To add to the irony of it all, also according to this complaint, the two men were sitting together at the bar talking about 10 to 11 when Ours jumped up, picked up a knife, started stabbing it in the bar, and then, as you just heard, the brutal attack happened. Reporting in Aliquippa, Barry Pintar, KDKA TV News.
And so there you saw the man accused of the attack, and you see all of the tattoos. Pretty sure some of those tattoos are probably white supremacist Nazi tattoos. I'm not versed in those things. But you heard the violence of the attack, where the man was almost unrecognizable. And the detective, whoever that guy was, contradicts what the daughter says. No, my father didn't know those people. He didn't know those people. And that's another part of the media trying to make it sound not bad as it is. Just like the daughter said, this should be classified as a hate crime. Where are all the hate crime advocates who are stopping Asian hate and all of that good stuff? Where is the bill now? Can we dust that off and bring that off the shelf for our brother, Mr. Preston Coleman? Let me go into some of these details real quick, because this article gives some in-depth details. Well, it says the family of Preston Coleman III said he was beaten unprovoked and mercilessly for nearly 30 minutes Sunday inside the lodge on Aliquippa's Penn Avenue. Coleman of Aliquippa remained hospitalized after being punched nearly 250 times. Police said 250 times. They actually had time to sit down and count it. And it said the attack left Coleman with head injuries, brain swelling, and bleeding, major fractures in his face, and at least 3 broken ribs. The report says Coleman's face and head were so swollen from the beating that surgeons cut a tracheostomy tube into his neck so he could breathe. And here is once again the details, more details. Now, the Brown guy, Ronald Brown, turned himself in, and he was charged with 3 criminal charges, including aggravated assault and liability for the conduct of another person. After police said he punched Coleman up to 7 times in the midst of the attack. Now, those are cookie cutter kindergarten charges, because they charged the other guy with attempted homicide. So if you're charging one person with attempted homicide and the other person participated in the act, why then is this person not charged? Now, they said this guy Brown is the father of Ireland Brown, who was working at the as a bartender at the lodge. Now, in another article, the Brown guy said he came into the bar because Mr. Coleman said something to his daughter. Does that sound familiar? Emmett Till or any other attack that has happened in the past blamed on a black man disrespecting a white woman. Now, they said that the bartender could not be reached for comment, right? And so they said they did file 9 charges against the Ours guy, who is still on the run, attempted first-degree homicide. The daughter said that he was targeted. Now, these are the details. They said at 10:50 p.m., camera footage shows Ours sit down next to Coleman at a bar inside the lodge and began talking. What they said is unclear. 7 minutes later, Ours, apparently without warning, started punching Coleman in the face and the head. Coleman tried to escape several times. At one point, Coleman gripped the bar to get off the floor, but was unable to stand and defend himself. Police said within minutes, he was barely moving and completely defenseless. They said at one point, about halfway through the attack, Brown, the other guy, Brown jumped in and started punching Coleman. They said Ours held him down as Brown punched him about 7 times in the head and the neck. Now, this is how evil and malicious this guy is, this Ours guy. It says Ours allegedly asked his girlfriend at one point to give him his knife, according to the complaint. When she refused, he started yelling at her and then punched her in the face. Now, she crazy because they said she left with him. So that just goes to show the overall insanity of them both. They said Ours returned to Coleman, bludgeoning him with the bar stool and repeatedly strangling him. And then he sat on Coleman's chest, already lifeless, and punched him repeatedly in the face and the head. They said At 11:17, probably 15 minutes into the attack, Ours paused to remove his shirt, which had become soaked with Coleman's blood. Then he resumed beating him and kicking him for nearly 8 more minutes. And this is the worst part. There were at least 3 people inside the bar at the time of the attack. None of those 3 people called 911, but they did call other people. And so you have a bar, I said 4, it might as well be 4. 3 people is way too many to be watching an attack of this nature. And I feel that anybody who was involved watching that and not intervening, if not intervening, not calling the police, they should be charged as an accomplice as well. This happened last week. Last Sunday, they said. So that's about, that's about the 5th, if I'm not mistaken. So now a man is fighting for his life after an unprovoked attack by these 2, and you look at them, they look like skinheads. Now, I just did a story about a young man, Mark Wilson, who received 10 years for firing his weapon in defense of him and his girlfriend after a truck full of white teenagers were following them, harassing them, yelling racial slurs, and trying to run them off the road. He gets 10 years. Now, just imagine if Ronald Coleman would have somehow had a pistol or a weapon on him, and he somehow defended himself. I wonder how that scenario would go. Or like Maurice Byrd, who was attacked by a white person yelling racial slurs and punching him. He pulled out his registered firearm, defended himself. Now he is facing first-degree homicide charges. Where is the balance of the law? Here this guy, Brett Ours, he's on the run. And this guy, Ronald Brown, he turns himself in, but his lawyer is saying, well, just keep in mind, to his credit, he did turn himself in. And they're charging him with the most cookie cutter of charges. He should be charged just as extensively as Mr. Ours, who's definitely on the run now. And so somebody sent me this a week ago. I just looked at it, and I did not know it was that horrific. But we got to be careful. And I'm not denigrating Mr. Coleman, but we definitely have to be careful of who and where we are at and who we surround ourselves with. Because as you see from this, at any given moment, the latent racism, the latent hatred, the latent Neanderthalism can come out. And you are sitting here fighting for this man is in a medically induced coma. Life altered forever, had to cut a tracheostomy in his neck so that he can just breathe, so that he can get air into his body and his lungs. This is like the daughter said, this is insane. Has 2 beautiful daughters. Now they are going through this as well. What is wrong with this, people? I have to ask the question again, and y'all let me know what the answer is in the comments. Why do white people hate black people so much? What did we ever do? Many people say it's because we are the original people. And I'm almost like some of my brothers and sisters who are on the broadcast. We gotta almost come out from among them because of things like this. We gotta protect ourselves, by if that means just being separate. I don't know, but these incidents are happening all too often. And many people feel it will get worse when the president takes office. You know me, how much worse can it get from the past 400 years? 300, 250, whatever you want to say. But once again, this is just an example, once again, how these bills that we're so excited about, oh yeah, they're going to pass the hate crime bill. They're going to pass the George Floyd anti-lynching act. This is what this is. This is a public lynching where people are standing around watching this man get beat for 30 minutes and not intervening, saying they took out their phones, but they didn't call the police. They probably called their friends. They maybe even recorded. We don't know. But this man is so violent. When his daughter, when his girlfriend didn't give him the knife, he turned his anger on her. Now that just shows the outright evil that was plaguing this man. But prayers and thoughts and healing go out to our brother, Preston Coleman III, and also his family as they go through this difficult time. And we hope and pray that, the Aliquippa police will do their job and bring that savage beast to justice swiftly. Because I don't even want to see the coverage because I don't want to get any more PTSD than I already have. And I end up exploding because this is not natural, what we're seeing from these people. And so y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a blessed day.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you on your feet.
Taylor House, we got the scoop.